Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back to Wells Homestead. Um, I am a little behind. It's been 2 weeks since I've made a video for you guys and kind of showed you what's going on here on the homestead. Um, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update today, kind of show you what we've got accomplished here lately. Let me move this up here just a little bit. There we go. Um, had a lot going on the homestead. Got a lot of stuff accomplished. I'll give you a quick tour real quick. Uh, there is a lot going on and a lot of realizations. The last time I made a video, I talked to you guys about um, what it means to be a homesteader, what it means to be self-sufficient where you are, and how there's no one template to do it. You guys have to do what works for you. And before I get too deep into that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of show you some of the things we've got going on, what's been working for us. You guys have heard me talk a lot in the videos about the greenhouse. And guess what? The greenhouse is done. We were going to do a typical hoop house with the cattle panels and the plastic. However, with the cost of materials on the rise, I wasn't able to do that. So if you guys will go with me here, I'll give you a quick tour of the greenhouse and show you kind of what we got going on here. Set you guys down right here. If you notice, the greenhouse is covered. Got to get some tape and do some plastic stuff here, but the greenhouse is covered. We did use PVC, 1-inch PVC pipe and joins to create the arch for the greenhouse. This is not went as quickly as what I would wanted it to, or what I had wanted it to. However, it is going to be a really big blessing for us to be able here in the next few weeks to get everything filled up in here and be able to grow our own food through the winter time, be able to grow some vegetables, have some fresh stuff. And basically all I did was I took the PVC pipe and I bent it and I drilled some holes in it and I screwed it to the foundation of the greenhouse and put the plastic over the top and stapled it everywhere it needed to be fastened down. And just on this mild day that we're having today, where it is currently about 48 degrees outside, I would say it's probably 55 or 60 degrees in here. So a really good blessing for us is the greenhouse here. Some of the other things we've been able to get done, I'll show you here as we enter the rabbit house. As you guys know before, here in the rabbit house, we had 2 does in this cage, a doe here, a buck there, and then we had a buck in a pet carrier, setting up on some 4x4s, and was cleaning that every day and putting fresh straw in so he wasn't, constantly in his own feces and his own urine. But we were able to return back to the guy that we got the rabbit hutch or the rabbits from, and get this hutch. Once again, it was. Let's see here. She's kind of turned over her food there, so I'll feed her while I'm here. This is one of the original hutches that these rabbits were in. So it's kind of like a going home. We've got one buck here, got him out of the pet carrier, took one of the does that was in this cage and put her here so that she wasn't bunched up. And, it was actually Coco that we put in the new hutch, and Blue is over here in her hutch. So the rabbit kingdom, or the rabbit house, is coming along. We are still working on the compost. I did add a little dirt the other day, which is kind of funny. I say I can't find dirt for the greenhouse, but I'm adding dirt to the compost. However, if you guys notice here, I'll point you down just a hair. We did get the fire pit built, which is really kind of unique to us, because on our homestead, one thing that we try to do a lot is repurpose and recycle. These bricks came out of a friend of mine's chimney that they took down out of their house. It wasn't really safe. It was leaking around it. They had somebody come in and take it down, and that's where all the bricks for the fire pit came out of. The rocks came from the front yard out of a flower garden that was around a tree that we're currently not using. So we got the fire pit going. I'll turn you guys around here. We are also working on the smokehouse. Currently we have a good flat stone and some flue tile here, pieces of flue tile that we've stacked up, and what we're going to do is we're going to put 12 concrete blocks through here on each side. We're going to put a concrete block on the back so that we can control the heat, and then 4 concrete blocks on the back, and that'll be the foundation for the smokehouse, where we will build a 2-foot by 3-foot by 4-foot smokehouse that will give us plenty of room to be able to cure our bacon, other meats, deer meat, stuff like that, because deer season is coming up. Well, a week from yesterday is the opening of deer season here in Missouri, the firearms season, and we're working on that. We are also, because it's getting that time of year, getting ready for winter. So as you'll notice here, I have started putting a little straw and a little fertilizer around this apple tree. I'm going to take some time later today, and I'm going to prune this apple tree back. I'm going to trim some of these lower branches off and prune some of the dead out of the top. And what we're hoping for is that by fertilizing it and doing some pruning, that hopefully next year we'll get some better apples. I do want to show you guys, it is really pretty this year here in Missouri. You can see behind me here the color of the trees is starting to change, and the leaves are starting to fall, and everything seems to be going really well. We cleaned out the chicken coop this morning and took all of that and spread some of it on the yard to try and help the grass grow. And here's the chickens. You can see them kind of running there. The laying hens are kind of pecking around. The meat birds, as you can see, have grown quite a little bit. Come on guys, get up. Did throw some straw out here this morning. And what's really great, well, I guess you guys aren't really seeing the chickens, are you? What's really great is I threw some straw out here this morning to kind of keep them from laying down on the cold ground. And I threw it out here in big bunches. and they have scratched and spread that straw through here. Um, Another good thing about this is in the straw is seed. So as they scratch and they scratch the ground and they move the straw around and they continue to defecate and everything like that, what they're doing inadvertently, not of their own desire to do so, is they're planting that grass seed. So next spring, um, when the ground thaws and everything comes up, we'll have some grass back here in the chicken run. Other things going on the homestead. We're hoping to get a couple deer this deer season that we can process and that we can get ready for the winter and put some meat into the freezer. But guys, one of the things I really wanted to impress upon you today is, I've taken you around and I've shown you all the things that we've made and all the improvements that we've made and all the things we've got going on the homestead and how it's going and how it's working. But guys, I don't do this so that somebody will say, "Ooh, look at Jackie." Because the one thing I want you to know about the Wells homestead is that everything we have and everything that we've done, we've been able to do, everything that we've got going in process and that we're working on is because we've been blessed with it. You can ask, Jackie, what do you mean by that? I mean, the pallets, for instance, were a blessing from my job. The rabbits were purchased with the proceeds from my job. The new rabbit hutch was a blessing from a friend of mine. The greenhouse, the same way. But guys, everything I've done, I couldn't do without God. And you say, well, you built it. I did. But when it comes right down to it, I might have built it with my hands, but I built it with His breath. The Bible teaches us that we are awakened by God every morning, that He breathes the breath of life into us. And everything I have is not because of something I did. It's because of His blessing on my life. It is through His breath, through His providence, through His provision, that we are able to have and do what we do. And I could go on and on. On that point and give you more scriptures and give you more tangible stuff. But that's really what I want to do, is I want to show you what I mean by that. When we moved to Missouri, and sorry about the sun there, or when we moved into this house, we've lived in Missouri our entire marriage. But when we moved into this house, it was a blessing. God gave us the ability to be able to pay the rent here. He gave us the ability to be able to have the resources we need to move into here. He gave us a beautiful home. I could go around and point out to you all the things that need to be done and all the things that are wrong with it. But guys, I'm thankful for this house. I'm thankful for multiple reasons. I'm thankful to have a roof over my head. I'm thankful to have heat. I'm thankful to have a place for my family to live. But I'm thankful because this house offers my wife the opportunity to be able to get up and walk more than she did when we lived in the apartment. To be able to practice those skills that will make her stronger and make her more capable of doing things on her own. I don't know how much really I've shared, but in uh, 2018, my wife had a small stroke, and uh, they went in and found out that her carotid artery was clotted off, and they went in and they put in a stent. And you fast forward 2 years to, or a year to 2019, in May, just a little over a year after her first stroke, she was having some major problems with her left knee, and they decided they wanted to do surgery. They did surgery, and when I say surgery, it was just they just scoped the knee. It was all laparoscopic. Um, but when they did that, they took her off her blood thinners, and her stent clotted off, and she had a major stroke. Um, Christy is not capable of doing anything with her left arm. Um, her left leg has very limited mobility. But I say all that kind of as Paul described his thorn. I say all that not to show you our weakness, but to show you his glory. Um, because when Christy had her first stroke, they told her that if she had another one, um, excuse me, they told her that if she had another one, she wouldn't survive. Um, but due to the power and the divine wisdom of God, she did. She survived. Um, and every day that she's able to get up and walk around and do things and move around, um, she gets more strength and more mobility in that left leg, and it makes her stronger. And it makes her stronger because God gave her the breath when she had that second stroke to be able to do that. Um, I'm I don't know how to describe really how grateful and thankful I am for all He has done for us. Um, One thing Christy has always said as we were planning our lives together and planning our uh, our dreams and stuff like that was that she wanted a house with a wraparound porch. Well, guys, this isn't a house with a wraparound porch, but look at what God gave us. That porch is 12 feet wide by almost 25 feet long. Um, it's got a safety rail so she can't fall off of it. And she can come outside and had to wave at the neighbor there and enjoy the outside and be under cover and do the things that she loves to do. Now, all of our married life, we have lived in homes that generally the rent was between $500 and, well, really $400 and $600 and a month. And when we moved into the apartment, it was $700. And we thought to ourselves, my Lord, how are we going to make this? It's $700 a month. We've never paid that much in rent. And really, by overcoming that hurdle of being able to pay the rent in that apartment, what God was doing was setting us up for what He was about to give us. The rent here is about $150 a month more than what it was in the apartment. But for what it's costing us, there's so much opportunity and so much capability of the property that He has given to us. We have We have this tree, for instance. Why is this tree a blessing? It looks overgrown and it is. It is greatly overgrown. It's overgrown with ivy. The berries are there. But if you look right there, you'll see a bird feeder. And you can't see it now because it's all kind of died down because of the weather and the season that we're in. But generally right through here, in the spring and the summertime, there is a big, humongous band of honeysuckle. Why is honeysuckle a blessing? It's a vine. It overtakes. It overruns. Well, the honeysuckle is a blessing because it brings bees. Well, why are bees a blessing? They sting. They irritate. The bees that the honeysuckle brings will be the same bees that pollinate our garden. And when we get our little beehive put out here next spring, we'll be able to get the bees on the honeysuckle. We'll be able to get them in the garden. We'll be able to get them in the greenhouse. We'll be able to have them to pollinate flowers and do all this stuff. And we're able to do all of this because of what he has done for us. Now, I'm not going to, spend the next 20 minutes or so preaching to you guys or anything like that. But I just want you guys to know that the reason I'm so animate and so focused on sharing my experience with you and supporting you and helping you and sharing my... Look, we got a dove. I don't know if you can see it, but right over there on the ground, we've got a dove going through the chicken manure that we spread to make the grass grow. But it's because it's all been given to me freely. It's all been a blessing. It's all been what he has given me. And in my beliefs, in my spiritual experience, in my faith, anything that God has given to me, he's given to me for the purpose of spreading the abundance, spreading the blessing, being a blessing to others, just like you guys are a blessing to us. I had a friend when I put out the last video that said, by the end of October, if we have 100 followers, we'll give away a gift card and everything like that. He said, man, it's really early for that. Guys, God has blessed me richly. I have 20 chickens. I have 5 rabbits. I have a greenhouse. I have a beautiful home and a beautiful family. And I want to share all that with you because that's what God has called me to do. He's called me to take everything he gives me and reinvest it in a way that he can bless it and prosper it and make it grow. And that's what we're doing here at the Wells Homestead. We're not experts. We're not big-time farmers or anything like that. Guys, I want you to see the size of this chicken. Look at that meat chicken. Look at how big she is. She's huge. Back to the point, sorry. We are taking what God has given us and we're planting seeds. We're planting seeds of self-reliance because God has given us all this land and all this nature and beauty, and he told us to go forth and be fruitful and prosper, and that's what we want to do. We want to spread to you the knowledge and the wisdom that God has given us on how to provide for ourselves off the bounty of the land and the animals that he created for us in the first place. I won't keep you guys much longer. I just wanted to give you a homestead update, show you what we had going on, and tell you guys that one of the greatest blessings that God has given us on our homestead is community. We started as you guys know, we live in Lebanon, Missouri, and we live in town. But we started a Facebook page called the Lebanon Area um, Homesteaders, and we have really been blessed with lots of local agriculture being involved in that page, and people with vast amounts of knowledge about one thing or another joining and and sharing that wealth of knowledge they've been blessed with, and to be able to facilitate and perpetrate this library of knowledge and wisdom and self-reliance um, is really just a movement back to what God gave us in the first place. And I appreciate you guys. I ask you to like and subscribe. Got a lot of new people on the Facebook page that we're going to be interviewing. I keep saying that. I've yet to do an interview. Let me get this pulled up here. Sorry, I had to move a chicken feeder that I needed to wash. Let me see here real quick. We will go down to the groups. My groups. Nope. Lebanon Area Homesteaders. Wow, guys, the Facebook page day before yesterday was at 45 members, and today it's at 98. Praise God. But let's talk about some of these people. Some of the ones we'll be interviewing. Let's see here. There we go. And a lot of them on here are just like me and Christy. They have homesteads here around the Lebanon area. They have different animals. Some of them in town, some of them out of town. But like Farmer Joe, he's got a lot of knowledge that he's going to share with us. Let me go down through the posts here real quick. And it's also to give encouragement. For instance, we had one guy come on by the name of Kelly Dublin. He says, "Hey, I'm glad to be a new member. Not a homesteader, but I do live in the country, and I raise some of my own meat and vegetables and do a little hunting also, occasionally trap some," which we're going to be getting into, guys, because it's almost that time of year. It's trapping season's getting ready to get underway, and we will have a couple videos on how to set traps and how to prepare traps and things like that, because it's another opportunity to collect meat. There's a lot of those animals that you trap that you can't eat, such as beaver and raccoon and stuff like that. And please don't turn me off because I said eating raccoon, but it is possible and really good meat. But it's also an income opportunity. The pelts, though they don't sell for much, it is a revenue stream that you can have on your homestead if you live out in the country, and you can trap a raccoon, that's trying to get to your chickens, or a fox or something like that. If you know how to skin it out and